hello, it's the next manager, Neil Atkinson and Josh Williams, and we are still making it up as we go along. What that means is that what we're going to be doing, whilst he remains as hot a favourite as he is, we're going to look to do these shows as a 1 and a 2. So what we're going to do first today is we're going to look at Leverkusen's match against Bayern Munich at the weekend, which a lot of you watched and everyone got excited and engaged with. And then next week, we'll be doing something on Roberto De Zerbi. Then the week after that, we'll look at another aspect of Alonso. Then the week after that, we might look at, say, Thomas Frank or Ange Postecoglou or Ruben Amorim. So what we're going to do is effectively alternate between Alonso and some aspect of Alonso and someone else until one of two things happens. 1, Xabi Alonso is confirmed as Liverpool manager. 2, Xabi Alonso is emphatically confirmed as not Liverpool manager. So that's what we'll be doing across the weeks between now and the end of the campaign. So everyone watched and engaged with Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich. We've got the full Stats Bomb report on it. You watched it as a live going proposition. I've got one note of caution, Josh, and football matches are live things and you've got to be careful not to just do this. But I did not think Bayern Munich were poor. Yeah, they were. I think Thomas Tuchel came with the approach, didn't he, of basically mirroring Bayer Leverkusen. He's done that before, to be fair, when he comes up against these back three systems. But it just quite clearly looked like one team has been playing it all season and one team hasn't. And the team that hasn't, there's a few individuals in that back line who've never played together. I think it was one of Eric Dyer's first couple of games. And I think Sacha Boey, I think, maybe made his first start since signing in January for Bayern Munich. I might be wrong in saying that, but new lads, basically. And Leverkusen just looked like they were far more advanced in that system. And their ability to kind of make Bayern look really bad, on top of Bayern already being pretty bad anyway, you know, was quite glaring, wasn't it? Yeah, I think there's something I've had in the back of my mind, not least because of Kane, because of the nature of the attack and talent, because of effectively the number of footballers they've got with a ton of experience, and then a couple of the newer exciting players like Tell, for instance. I've had in the back of my mind, Munich could be a bit of a dark horse for the Champions League. Off the back of that, I was left thinking there's no way they don't get marmalised by 3 or 4 of the bigger sides. Well, the sides that were as big as they are off the back of this game between Leverkusen and Munich, especially away from home. Well, they were one of my hopes as to why Manchester City might not win the double in terms of the Champions League 2 years in a row. But after seeing that, I agree with you. Like, I think Alonso and what he coached and the way Leverkusen performed and things like that, I think it just made Bayern Munich look like they looked like the team that were challenging maybe to win their first Bundesliga, and Leverkusen look like the seasoned winners, you know. So emphatically that, and that's part of how the way game goes. So listen, first thing on screen is just the team lineups. We often don't show you this. We get all this stuff from StatsBomb, but you can just see there the team lineups and the way in which StatsBomb have decided to move the players. I want to scoot forward from that you've seen there with the formations, just into the overall stats of the game, Josh, because the first thing to point out is, whilst the expected goals doesn't look like there's that much of a gap, and the cumulative expected goals doesn't look like there's that much of a gap, I think there's something in real time in the game where the number of times it's something last ditch, which means a shot isn't got away. And for me, it's one of the misbeats when you listen. Expected goals, I always argue, over 10 games, 15 games, it evens out this sort of stuff. But in a game here and there, it can give a bit of a false picture. There's 3 or 4 times it's solely because a Bayern Munich player gets a last-ditch toe in when Leverkusen player is through one-on-one. That we're not looking at 3 or 4 more chances here with a minimum expected goals of say 0.4. Well, I think one of the chances that comes to mind for me with that is I think Adley's running through. Upamecano's behind him. Just before he gets the shot away, Upamecano gets a toe on it, and I think it maybe goes out for a corner. And I think Leverkusen actually score their opening goal from something like that. I think that they don't get a shot away and then they get a throw in on the back of it, and they end up scoring. So yeah, I agree with you, and I think this is why the likes of, you know, expected threat and things like that are being worked on, just to kind of capture the threat depending on where you are on the pitch, as opposed to purely when you get shots away. But even despite that, I thought Leverkusen created some clear-cut openings with the shots and ended up winning the game through it. Yeah, very much so. There's another couple of interesting things that just come out through the stats. There was a lot of chat post-match about Alonso saying we controlled them without the ball. And I think that's borne out by the numbers, i.e. Munich's pass completion is really high at 86%. Total passes is substantially higher. It's not even as though in that context the pressures or pressure regains from Leverkusen are outrageous. The tackles won, Munich win more tackles over the course of the game. You know, all of those are in that stats little pack there. But one of the things that struck me again watching the game and to the eye test was everything that Munich were doing, pretty much Leverkusen were quite comfortable with. Yeah, well, what I found interesting was, I think a lot of us tuned in expecting to see Leverkusen and thinking, like, you know, is this what Liverpool could look like next season potentially? But Leverkusen played nothing like. YouTube Press the button, become a member of the Anfield Wrap from the heart of the city of Liverpool. The best way to enjoy all your Liverpool-based videos, everything you need, every single day. It is the Anfield Wrap.